Make sure to stay till the end to get a mini tour of my current map, FullMoon Battle Royale, Chapter 1. I've been making Battle Royale maps in Creative since 2021, which means there's a lot of scrapped maps that I've never gotten to see the light of day. And there's also a lot of scrapped maps that I did scrap after they saw the light of day. And that's what today's video is all about. If you go on to enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it's entirely free and it lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content. If you want to support me, you can use creator code FullMoon in the item shop. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and get right on into this scrapped map video. Alrighty, so this is the first map we're going to be looking at. This was my first ever mini VR, I think. FullMoon's Battle Royale. A lot different than this kind of stuff I make today. I think this is a Kevin floating island. Oh, is nothing going to run around? Oh, that's embarrassing. Alright, for real now, this is the first map, I guess, which is FullMoon's Battle Royale. This is what I was looking for. I can't believe I published this map. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Welcome to FullMoon's Battle Royale, which is 24 players and built on a Kevin floating island, or this might be an Oasis island, I'm not sure. Obviously, I had a bunch of stuff. This was very early on in the in my creative journey, as you can see from the special thanks board. A lot of these, other than like Surmox, you don't know of any other. Like, yeah, we won't talk about that over there. Anyways, we'll go ahead and look around. So this was my first ever mini VR that I built by myself. And so we have Fancy Fields, which was my first ever farm that I built. And honestly, I think I did really good for what it was worth. I had the prop chests, because I didn't like normal chests, and everyone was using these, and so that's what I did. And they worked nicely. I also had these crafting stations where you could craft using these item crafters, and this is like a really cool mechanic. I might have to bring this back for something eventually, but really simple to make, and overall it was just fun. And then they were marked on the map with this really cool like S looking emblem, so I really liked that. In the middle was the temple, just a normal like POI. It had trees growing in it. Overall, this was like a really cool design, and I've tried to bring this back multiple times, but I've just never really had the place to. And you can kind of tell with some other maps that I'm going to be showing in this video, like what I took inspiration from as far as this goes. Over here I had Vigorous Vicinity, which is just a suburb, but it had a lot going on. It had the Durburger, had a bunch of houses, had its own crafting station as well, and then it had like the middle part area here. Yeah, just a very simple suburb for my first ever map. Over here we had Casual Camps, which was the Woods POI, which had a bunch of nature and a bunch of like cabins and whatnot. I don't know how else to describe this POI other than it just had like cabins and trees. My interior wasn't the best just yet, but you can tell where, like, as I improve, you know, whatever. And then over here we had Delicate Depot, which was a Dusty Depot ripoff and worse, and it had 2 factories, and I think I kind of just smashed that in there for space reasons, but yeah. And then up here, what was the best POI on the map is Mountainous Manor, which this was not built by me. I can't even build this to this day, I don't think, but it had a really cool interior. Like the props were nice, and the memory on this map is crazy low. Like I think it's like 60k in the middle or something. So it's like, it was crazy low or whatever. Lot of ideas to go on, and yeah, for my first BR map, it was pretty cool. It was just like Fortnite, where you couldn't fall off the edge, you would die. And I had like, you know, this is very beginner, but it's pretty good for what my first map ever was. Alrighty, and here we have FMBR Season 2, which is separate from the first FMBR and the reboot. It's weird. I'm weird about names. Anyways, this is Season 2 of FullMoon's Battle Royale, which was titled Space Invaders. I had some story made. Basically, there's a sword at the temple, and there's an alien, and he's coming to steal the sword. That's pretty much it. I got rid of the helper board. I don't really know why, to be honest with you. And then I had these UFOs that crashed. So you could see them around the map. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and take a little quick tour. So Fancy Fields pretty much remained the same, except for Talon's pod had crashed, and he drops, like if you come here, you can grab his jetpack. So that was kind of like the first addition of like mythics to my island. And this was a really good like crash site. I don't remember if I built this by myself. I probably didn't, but you know, whatever. Obviously you have the temple, and yeah, we continue to have crafting stations on the map. Mountainous Manor is still here. The only POI that changed is the depot, which is now crushed. And as you can see, there's like these crystals, and these crystals are what came from the UFOs. And you can get the ray gun from the UFO, and if you break these crystals, or I guess I searched the crystals, you get like this shard, like this like ore, and then you could use those to craft the pulse rifle, which was the new crafting in my map. Obviously, you had the casual camps remain the same, and then you also had the suburb stay the same, but it's all decked out in aliens now, and therefore I called it Believer Burbs. This was mainly because Vigorous Vicinity is a mouthful for a suburb, and Believer Burbs is a lot easier to say. Not much different about this map than the first one, other than just like an alien theme, but it's good for what it was. Like I said, this was my first ever mini BR, so for what it's worth, pretty lit. Alrighty, this is Full Moon Battle Royale. I think this is where most of you guys will remember starting. This is the entitled FMBR. This was my first ever map, and you know, I had the mini grid, obviously made by Koala, the only mini grid that ever came out. I had the thingy here, the supported creator device. Obviously you can't do that anymore. You can matchmake with other people. Obviously you can't do that anymore. But yeah, we'll just, you know, most of you guys are gonna remember this map. I think this is where most of my channel started. Obviously you have Crimson Cribs, you got Tasty Trade over here in the desert, you got Sandy Screening, you got Precious Pines in the Pine Forest. The biomes on this map are what I'm proudest of. I think I did really good on biome design. You've got Fatal Factory, and then all these like legendary icons were like vending machines, so that was kind of cool. And then you had the mini grid back here, which was Koala's build, and this was supposed to change every week, but obviously that didn't happen. And then I guess this was the last update before season 2, so like I had these boats coming in for the expansion. Then I got Jam Junkyard right here. I feel like Junkie was on this map, but I guess I could be wrong. I'm trying to think of what else is here. Oh, Sharky Subterrane, the best POI on this map in my opinion. Look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. But yeah, nothing too crazy. This map didn't have fried fringes on it yet. Obviously, I had Fieldy Frontier, which was the second farm I ever built. This one's a lot better than the one on the original map. And then we have Dirty Destination, which would eventually become Fried Fringes, which, I guess we'll take a look at. Alrighty, so this is FMBR Season 3. I didn't show Season 2 in the video, and that's because everything on Season 3 was in Season 2 pretty much, except for like... Anyways, it's to save time, but you're not gonna miss anything. This was the introduction of the storyline. Yikes. I'd go on to cancel this map before story was even like established, so just kind of forget that's there. But we'll go ahead and look at the POIs that you didn't see on Season 1. Heavy Heights, which was introduced in Season 3, which is this season. They brought the ballers. There's like this escape pod thingy. It's got a mythic vending machine. It's got pizza. I don't even remember doing this. This is kind of cool. Kind of a cool idea. Full Moon, I ain't gonna lie. It's kind of cool. Then you have Fried Fringes, which was introduced in Season 2. That's the expansion update. Just added some houses to an already established restaurant. And then we had the Appreciation House, which was kind of like for you guys as fans. A lot of people really liked this house, and I'm really glad I did it. I might have to bring that back for something else. And then we have the Car Family. So this is what I did instead of Junkie. I did the Car Family. That makes a lot more sense, I think. Unless I did Junkie as well. No, I didn't. Okay, so that's what I did. Alright, sorry, that was a tangent. Obviously, we have the introduction of Faction Frontier, which was an addition to Season 3, which basically just like souped up the barn. Yeah, imagine if like Complex Crops or whatever it was called from Season 7 in Fortnite, it was like worse. That's what this is. And then there's Shoreline Shops, which was introduced in Season 2. this is definitely the worst POI I've ever made. The interior was terrible, and it's just like, you could tell that this was, what can I add to replace the tower that was here? Oh, I'll just add a strip mall and not do anything with it. So that's what that was. And then the last thing added to Season 3 was Combative Corner, which replaced Precious Pines, but I don't really call it replaced because Precious Pines was the forest. It wasn't really like a POI, it was just the forest, and like that was there, and there were like 3 other like little campgrounds, and I got rid of 2 of them and instead built, you know, an actual POI. So definitely an improvement. This also had ballers. And then the only other thing that changed on this map was Fatal Factory, which now makes the ballers. And yeah, that's kind of all that changed. I would go on to discontinue this map because it felt like a burden to make, and I quite frankly, I was trying to introduce a storyline that I just wasn't a fan of anymore. And so I canceled the map because I didn't want to get myself in a hole and then not be able to get myself out. So that's kind of all that happened. But yeah, this was my best map at its time, and this is where most of my channel saw its growth. But hopefully we're gonna start getting that back. All right, so this would be the follow-up to FMBR, assuming this is the right map. It is. And oh boy, was this map really bad. This is, I believe, the Season 2 map, because I'm pretty sure I had all this as red. Yeah, oh lord, this is horrible. So this is Oblivion Royale. The best thing I ever did about this map was that I built it on stream from the ground up. Like, everyone on the channel saw me build this map, so like it was hype and exciting. So this was my interpretation at making a lot more of a realistic island, as like FMBR was like really like naturey and mountainous and stuff, and there was a lot of clutter on FMBR. So I tried to fix this by doing this map, and I think I just ended up making it worse. So obviously you have Superb Suburban. I really liked this suburb. I think it's one of the better ones I've ever made. You had this bus stop, and you had these like soda stations, I think is what I called them. And this was before Slurp Juice were overpowered. So like, you know, it was a good little suburb. Up here you had Drury Docks, which was a dockyard POI. This looked a lot different, but now all these pieces are weird colored because the Chapter 5 rig uses them, and so now they're just kind of this like vibrant blue for some reason. That's not my best POI ever made in the world. Up here, the reintroduction of Dirty Destination, the landmark, but modernized, and it doesn't change much, but it's a nice little change to the colors, I think, and it looks good. Yeah, and then over here we have Heated Haven, which is a suburb in the desert, and this is worse than the one over there, but it's still pretty good. Obviously I did another desert biome, but I did it a little bit different. I had the pine trees, and I think the pine trees helped a lot with like color and stuff. Obviously there's only like 100 of them on the map, so you can't really tell, but like I think they looked good. Like I think the desert looked good, and there were motorbikes, and there's not a lot to say about this. I'm honestly kind of wanting to throw up looking at this map. Cool little taco station. Over here we have the Temple of Prophecy, which obviously, as like I said in the video earlier, this is inspiration from my first ever map, and it's not a one-to-one copy of the temple because I've gotten better at building, and this temple, quite frankly, is better. I think it actually has like an interior rather than just like trees growing up out of it. And then you have this village, like the prayer village, and you'd like go in and you'd like step on these and you'd pray. I liked it. This was a cool little theme to a POI. And then obviously over here you had Rafted Resort, which was a suburb that was floating, or not a suburb, but like a townish thing. You had a Sticks restaurant, a lighthouse, some apartments, and then like this coffee shop. So, you know, it was good. And then over here was the Quarry POI. I don't remember what I called it. I think it was like Quaint Quarry. But for Season 2 I was going to flood it. So that's why it's flooded facility over here. Over here, this was Season 2. We're not even going to talk about this because, oh my god. This is Mellow Market, which was, you know, an original POI. I had this toy store. I originally had dinosaurs in here for my girlfriend, but I had to remove them because of memory issues. She was not happy about that. And I think the only other POI is Wooded Willow, which was a cabin POI. And this is probably my favorite cabin POI I've ever made, because it actually had like cabins and stuff. But this isn't really like a woods. It's kind of like empty. And basically that's kind of my point, is like with me going for a realistic map, I really didn't want to clutter with nature, but I think ultimately I just made the map look really empty. And you know, that's why this got one update and then was scrapped. So okay, while this map loads, I'll give you a little bit of a timeline just so you don't mess up. So FullMoons with the S, seasons 1 and 2 were developed in 2021. Then at the very beginning of 2022, I dropped FullMoon Battle Royale, which is that extra large map you saw at the beginning. And that ran all the way to about July. And then after July, I quit doing Fortnite Creative mini BRs for a little while, and then began developing Oblivion later / earlier that year. And I got a trailer out in May. So in May, Oblivion Royale dropped, and I canceled Oblivion Royale middle of June, like that then last week. So then I was like, you know what, Oblivion was bad. I need to stop doing Fortnite mini BRs. And then I started making some friends again on Creative, and they kind of brought me back into the scene. And that's when I decided to reboot what I think was my best map ever, FullMoon Battle Royale. So here we are with the reboot, which I've now branded Chapter 1. And this is the map that's out now. So this is your little spawn room. I have this little spawn room, and this is like a mini interpretation of the map, which I think was cool to build. And then you have Spawn Island, and your timer, and the battle bus, and you know, just really good. You have like my welcome board, which just kind of shows everything. Shows my socials, which you guys should follow, by the way. This is where you're gonna get a lot of information about this map. And then my shout out board, where I shout out my friends and like my help and stuff. And then this is definitely the best map I've ever made, like hands down. I used OG Chapter 1 terrain, which I know not everyone is a fan of, but I like it. And then I used the Chapter 4 trees. So this map is, I think it's beautiful. So obviously this is Crimson Cribs, which was like on my original FMBR, except now it's this like town village-esque POI. I think it's a lot better than what it was on the original FMBR. But you know, you're allowed to have your own opinion. And then we have Fried Fringes over here, which I think is better on this map. The house variety is a lot different. Every house is built differently. On the original FMBR, it was like a lot more like the same. This map, it's really different. And like, I think this just feels more like a suburb. Like the streets are lively and have cars and trash. And I have this little like area of sidewalk where there's just like, you know, bushes and lampposts, and like it's just beautiful. I have this little dock area. It's kind of connected to Tasty Trade, but you know, it's simple enough. And then there's Tasty Trade, which, you know, there's no desert on this map, as you can tell, so this is all grass. And this POI looks a lot better in the grass, I think, than it did on the desert. I really like this POI a lot. Look, it fits really well. Fits really nicely there. And then new to this map is the iceberg. I've never built a snow biome before. This is my first ever snow biome on a map. And I really like how it came out. You have Polar Plant. It's like this factory POI, and I'm really proud of this. This looks really cool. And then you have the return of Fatal Factory, but now it's in the ice biome. And this is the version from season 3 of the original FMBR that like made the ballers and stuff. Obviously you have like these additioned like 2 little factories here, just to kind of make this POI a little bit more bigger. Then over here you have Gem Junkyard. It's kind of hard to make a junkyard good, so I think both of them on each map are equivalent to each other. And then you have Junkie, which I guess has never made an appearance on any of my maps before, but here he is, live in the flesh. And then over here you have a small farm landmark, because you can't have a FullMoon map without a farm on it. And then last but not least, we have Sharky Subterrane, which now is just a cave with like docking and stuff, and I think this fits the POI a lot better. It's got a lot more like mystical ideas to it. This one has mushrooms and like crystals and trees and like there's a lot different like color here. On the original FMBR, it was pretty much just a cave with purple trees, but with this stuff, it's very much a mystical like area. This map has zip lines and grind rails and like just a lot of different mechanics that I haven't been able to do on my previous maps. And I'm really proud of this one. But that's pretty much it for all of my maps that I've ever made. Make sure to comment down below which one you thought was your favorite. And I hope to catch you guys on a later video soon. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.